A single German soldier crouches behind a ruined wall. A Soviet T-34 rolls toward him. He lifts a disposable tube to his shoulder and fires. The shaped charge burns through the tank's armor like a blowtorch. One soldier has just killed a 30-ton tank. This is the story of Panzerfaust, a weapon that changed the face of war. The year is 1943 to 1945. The world is at war. And someone has just built something terrifying. Before WW2, infantry was helpless against tanks. Then came handheld anti-tank weapons that a single soldier could carry. They changed tank warfare forever. What comes next will revolutionize warfare forever. In WW1 and early WW2, infantry had almost no defense against tanks. Rifles and grenades were useless. The American bazooka was the first widely used shoulder-fired anti-tank weapon. Its 60 mm rocket could penetrate 80 mm of armor. The Germans captured bazookas in Tunisia and improved the design. The Panzerschreck was an 88 mm rocket launcher with more punch. But the real revolution was the Panzerfaust. Disposable, dirt cheap, and deadly. A weapon even an untrained soldier could use. The Panzerfaust used a shaped charge. The explosive focused into a jet of superheated metal that burned through armor. The earliest Panzerfaust had a range of only 30 meters. You had to wait until the tank was almost on top of you. Later versions increased range to 100 meters. The Panzerfaust 100 could penetrate 200 millimeters of armor. No tank was safe. In the Battle of Berlin, Panzerfaust teams lurked in every ruined building. Soviet tanks were destroyed by the hundreds. Soviet tank crews welded bed springs and scrap metal to their tanks as makeshift armor. Some strapped sandbags to the hull. The British PIAT was spring-loaded and universally hated. It was heavy, hard to cock, and bruised the shooter. In Normandy, hedgerow fighting turned into a Panzerfaust nightmare for Allied tanks. Every bush could hide a tank killer. By 1945, Germany had produced over 6 million Panzerfausts. They were given to old men and boys in the Volkssturm. The Panzerfaust concept survived the war. The Soviet RPG-7 and modern anti-tank weapons are its direct descendants. Handheld anti-tank weapons changed warfare forever. No tank has been invulnerable since. The foot soldier could fight back. Handheld anti-tank weapons like the Panzerfaust gave infantry the power to destroy tanks. Over 6 million were produced, and the concept revolutionized warfare. Soldiers on both sides had to adapt. The old way of fighting was dead. The enemy scrambled to develop countermeasures. But they were already behind. Production ramped up. Factories worked day and night to build more. By the end of the war, this weapon had fundamentally altered the battlefield. The Panzerfaust ended tank invincibility. Its shaped charge technology and disposable design influenced every anti-tank weapon since, from the RPG-7 to the Javelin. The men who operated it knew its power. And they knew its cost. After the war, this technology continued to evolve. Its influence can still be seen today. Museums around the world preserve these machines. Silent reminders of their deadly efficiency. Collectors and historians study every detail. Every rivet, every mechanism tells a story. The soldiers who faced it called it many things. But they all agreed on one thing. It was terrifying. This was Panzerfaust. And it changed everything. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today. The events described here shape the world we live in today.